Where do you get the balls shaved?
Oh, it's a nuts joke.
But
Adam, you used to only do that for Manscaped.
Well, imagine my surprise when this morning I woke up and there was a Manscaped script in my inbox. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Manscaped back to the SDP. That's awesome. 2024 is here and in full swing, which means it's time for your New Year's resolution and check in on your friends downstairs with Manscaped. You got to try the new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra.
Whoa, they're on to 5?
That's right.
Waiting until you got there.
Every man's cheat code. 5 of them. But this is even better than the first 4. It's
5
a cheat
levels
code.
of ball.
It's trusted by over 10 million men worldwide. Whether you're going for a trim, clean shaven look, or just, you just want to get it back under control, Manscaped is the product for you. Now, here's the deal. You go to manscaped.com, use that code, what?
Dangle.
How apropos. For 20% off and free shipping. Again, it's Dangle, D-A-N-G-L-E, 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. The ball has dropped.
They updated the toiletry bag. That's all I want to say.
What do you like?
The 5.0 comes with a new toiletry bag. It's 100 times better than the old one.
I liked the leather bag. Oh, that's really nice.
No, the new one's
wow.
Supreme. Yeah,
oh, baby.
It's called the Shed 2.0. Love it.
The ball shed.
Okay, let's get into the show.
SDP, the Steve Dangle Podcast, with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
How are things going for the Toronto Maple Leafs right now? Jesse Blake, can you play the video?
Yeah.
This is how things are going for the Toronto Maple Leafs right now.
How
They're
are the
this
wives?
good.
I need to know the wives.
Give me the...
To you, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Tyler.
That's the best part.
Happy birthday to you.
Sing it through those teeth, Max.
What teeth? What teeth?
Yeah.
What teeth?
I heard he lost one this year, and I'm like,
He
where?
did. No. So he was missing
how?
He was missing his 2 front teeth, and then he got one of the other ones right next to it knocked out. So the gap just got wider.
So basically, he's just got his canines, and that's it.
That's pretty much it.
Incredible.
And then Tyler smiles, and he's missing one too. Tyler. When have we ever referred to him as Tyler? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well,
that was why that. I don't think anyone has called Tyler Bertuzzi Tyler for 20 years.
no, just Bertuzzi.
Tyler.
Well, I think Bertuzzi's such a strong, noticeable
Bertuzzi.
Yeah, you remember that name.
Oh.
Hey, so Tyler Bertuzzi gets a hat trick on his birthday. It's the first time it's happened in Toronto Maple Leafs history. That's 107 years? 108 years?
I can't remember if Drew was on the stream with me when he scored the hat trick, but both our jaws dropped. We're like,
well, he scored the winning goal, didn't he? So yeah, Drew was he was on the stream.
So he must have been. We were just like, how is that possible? I guess it's rare to score a hat trick on your birthday. It comes once every 365 days. A hat trick comes maybe never, maybe all the time if you're Austin Matthews. You never know.
What if you had a July birthday?
Well,
COVID would have been the only time to score a hat trick on your birthday.
in a warm-up game.
Yeah.
And unless it was Ilya Mikheyev, no one was doing it.
Do the Leafs get 2 centennial celebrations? Because they didn't become the Toronto Maple Leafs until 1927. Right before that, they were the St. Patrick's. So in 2027, do we get to do another 100 years of Toronto Maple Leafs hockey?
I think if you're a good marketing department, you take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, here, let me do an impression of the person in charge of making the Leafs money. Yes. All right.
I am excited for 2 seasons from now when we get the next centennial.
The re-tennial.
Re-2-pectennial.
Re-2-tennial.
Re-2-tennial. We should copyright it and make the t-shirts
That's right.
now
Yes.
so that
Get
if
the
the
URL.
Leafs want to do it, we already own it. Re-2-tennial shirts
Re-2-tennial.
coming soon.
Hell yeah.
It was a heck of a game. That Saturday night, listen, your stream was awesome.
I know.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. Had the stream on, had the game on, was able to finally sync them up properly, and it was perfect. And you know what? I think the text message you got from Adam Copeland.
Oh, yeah. I got a text from Edge mid-game.
And what
That's
did he say?
That's how you know they're humming.
What did he say?
I don't remember.
I remember what he said. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
He said, how about these 2 teams for a Stanley Cup final?
He did say that. He said.
Seems like he said other things.
Oh my God, he did. He said a bunch of other things. Sorry, the last correspondence we had before that was sorry I can't come to the live show. He goes, imagine this final. I said, dude, it's such good hockey. And he goes, actually has my heart rate elevated. And then he ended it with, at 9:39 p.m., what a fucking game. And then we talked about how Tyler Bertuzzi looks like both Corey and Trevor from Trailer Park Boys.
He does. It's it was a great game for the Leafs to win. You could see like visible disappointment from Drew. Like he's like, what a way to lose, because it's a puck over glass penalty.
Yeah.
It's Mikko Rantanen.
Yeah.
Who you can't get upset with ever because he's so good.
He's ridiculously good.
And really, both teams had good moments and bad moments. The Leafs' bad moments started in the first, as usual. They go down 2-0. Wasn't great.
Boy, the Avalanche, man, I can't believe they're down Nichushkin and Landeskog. Like, that team was
So
all over the Leafs, like shit on Velcro. Like, just forechecking the life out of them. Mm-hmm. And then anytime the Leafs were able to get out of their zone, you're not getting across that blue line. And if you are, you're not getting across with anything meaningful.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't believe that the Leafs outshot the Avalanche in the first period.
By one.
Yeah, but I don't know what the shot attempts were. I imagine the Avalanche won that battle, and I know they won the ozone time with the puck battle. I don't know what it was at the end of the game, but at one point they had an advantage of 4 minutes, which is a lot of minutes.
It's a few minutes.
I'll watch a game and I'll be like, oh man, this team is kicking the crap out of the other team, and the difference is like 45 seconds.
Yep.
Like it's really not that big. So for 4 minutes, like that win had, it was really reminiscent of, I thought the first round last year against the Lightning, where they just hung around. They did their best to keep it all to the outside. They did their best to make Samsonov's job as easy as humanly possible.
He did a great job when it wasn't easy.
A really good job. And they took advantage of their chances.
And so, I want to talk about that first power play goal from Tyler Bertuzzi. He had two, but I think it's important to talk about John Tavares, because you talked about last week, you guys, about how John Tavares showed leadership when he said, yes, I will drop down and play with two rookies while Max Domi gets to play with Bertuzzi and Nylander, no problem. And he's making the line work. It looks great, okay? So also sort of lost in that shuffle is that Tyler Bertuzzi is now on PP1 in front of the net in Tavares' spot.
And he's really good at it.
So how big is that goal, and so that goal doesn't happen if John Tavares is like, hell no. That doesn't seem like a John thing, right?
Well, Nick LaFlame on Twitter had, I thought, the tweet of the night. It was the Leafs trade deadline is their own players getting good. And,
I mean, he might be right.
But we've talked about it for a few weeks now. Like, if regression is a real thing, Tyler Bertuzzi is going to win the Conn Smythe Trophy. Like, he's just been so horrifically snake bitten. And that was his best game as a Leaf. Like, even outside of the hat trick, just dropping into the butterfly and making ridiculous blocks, and even without his stick, and I'm screaming at him to go get a new stick, and then he's doing stuff without his stick, and he's incredible.
Yeah.
He was good at both ends, and sometimes you just need confidence. Someone has obviously told him, listen, your only way through this is to shoot your way through it.
Right.
And he is shooting more and getting stoned more and missing more. But the only way to get your confidence back is to score. So they put him on PP1. And it's not just like, it's not a charity case. He's good there. Like when he scored his first couple goals at the beginning of the season, he was on the power play. If I remember correctly, he didn't have his first even strength goal as a Leaf until like American Thanksgiving, Christmas, something like that. He's a good power play guy. And I mean, you should be able to thrive on this type of power play.
Yes.
Tavares can do the things that Bertuzzi does in front of the net on the power play. You like him to have a little bit more space so he can use that shot. Bertuzzi is a pig at the trough, and he's just there to gobble up the slop. And he's done an incredible job.
He also scores the first goal of the second period.
With the power play stuff.
sorry,
I
go ahead,
thought,
Jess, sorry.
I thought Mitch Marner said something fascinating after the game when he was asked about JT moving down. He said that middle position on the power play, everybody around the edges wants the puck. So you often don't get it there. And when JT's there, it's kind of a dark hole. And like he wants to score on the power play. He wants to get those points as well, but he's not going to get them from those positions. So it makes more sense to have somebody there who's not necessarily searching for the puck, but can clean up the garbage. So it kind of works better having JT on the second unit, and he can kind of handle that, and he can actually control the puck with the second unit as opposed to putting him there being in the garbage position, because you should have somebody there who doesn't need the puck to pass around. Like Willie wants it, Marner wants it, Austin wants it. You have those three guys already. You don't need JT out there as well to try and get these shots. Have somebody out there who's willing to get into the dirty areas in the middle there.
And you can, I think, experiment with these things a little bit more freely when everyone is so terrified of Austin Matthews. There was
Every time he raises his stick, you can see he does it all the time now. It's just faking people out.
100%. I don't remember which Bertuzzi power play goal it was, but like they're terrified of the guy. Like he absorbs all the oxygen in that situation. And Bertuzzi on at least one of his goals was wide open because, I don't know, we got to stop that freak. We have to stop that actual freak of nature who has 52 goals already.
Right.
So there's a little bit more freedom there.
Bertuzzi gets a even strength goal.
Hey, in this economy, let's go.
I know. And here are the assists. Okay. So the assists on the first goal are Marner, Nylander. Second goal, Nylander, Domi. And
that line, man, they're so fun.
It's a good line.
They're fun. They're a lot of fun.
By the way, I low-key saw Nylander out walking his dogs this morning. I won't say where, but he...
Actually?
Yeah, he was just out walking his dogs.
Love that.
Yeah. I was walking in the streets of Toronto, and there he was. Just being chill.
Was he walking like he was on a 7-0 tear?
Pretty much, yeah.
Love that.
And he should. He should. You know, Bertuzzi is a... Bertuzzi getting that goal as well, I think it's important because, you know, power play goals are one thing, but they do, for whatever reason, look at even strength goals as if they're a bit better. And I think it's important that he gets that even strength number as well, because teams are looking at that internally.
Yeah. Adam, forget the even strength of power play goals. Listen, it's 7 degrees Celsius in Toronto today. Was he wearing shorts?
No, he was wasn't wearing shorts. He was.
That's all people wanted to know. Damn. I tried. I got the information.
Jesse and I, in a different area, used to see him in the mornings. Do you remember that? Yeah.
I thought you were, so you weren't downtown this morning.
I was downtown, but not in that area. Not in the area we used to see him. I don't want to say where it is. It's not nice. But, you know.
He lives at the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Yeah. No, Scotiabank Arena. He just came out of his apartment in Scotiabank Arena. And that's where it is.
He lives in the dressing room.
He lives in the dressing room. That's right.
Yeah. When they play the Raptors games, it's kind of awkward because like his kitchen's there.
Yeah.
So like they got to play around him.
They're like, "What's up, Willie?" He's like, "Hey guys." He sleeps sitting up.
Yeah.
Crazy.
With his pads, with his like all his gear on.
Eyes open, smirking.
Yeah. So then you got Marner getting a goal, which we love. Rantanen ties it up in the third, and then Bertuzzi with the power play goal, as we mentioned, with Rantanen's puck over glass penalty. And again, Nylander Matthews. I mean, Matthews only getting his 25th assist of the year, guys. Can't win the Hart Trophy when you only have 25 assists.
What a greedy piece of crap. Also, a little bit of symmetry. 52 goals, 25 assists.
I like that.
Exactly.
I like that. Jesse, do you care about that? The 52, the 5-2, and the 2-5?
Oh, I was like, that doesn't, like, the math doesn't match.
There's no math.
You're just turning around the number.
The's a 2 and a 5.
It's numbers with an
right.
artistic flair.
All right.
Yeah,
That's how we
for
handled
13, but they drew a 31.
So,
a little bit of that. A little bit of that going.
I think it's gone underrated. It's his best defensive performance as well with Bertuzzi. Like, he looked fabulous out there. Like, season high in blocks. Like, just something small like that. It's like, oh, yeah, he's doing extra effort on his birthday, put in those goals. It was a very fun game from Bertuzzi.
Now, the counter argument to that is...
Oh, please make it sad.
What? No.
What's the counter?
The counter argument to a team coming up with a bunch of blocks, because the Leafs came up with a ton of blocks.
The other team's shooting?
The other team's shooting. They have the puck, and it's not good. But, I mean, the other option is to simply... I mean, yeah, get the puck.
I'm sorry,
but what if you can't?
I'm sorry, Steve. How did the game end?
No.
With a Leaf
Jesse,
victory?
Is
it not important for teams to win games like
Jesse,
this?
I'm not the devil. I'm simply his advocate.
Okay.
Okay. I'm playing devil's advocate right here. Okay. I'm just saying the argument against that is you shouldn't be the one doing all the blocking. But who doesn't friggin' love when their team does that?
Oh, yeah. And I think it's important for people to realize, like, you're never going to outchance the other team every single game. Your deserve to win-o-meter always won't be at 100%. And sometimes when the other team looks a lot better than you, like the Avs did the entire third period up until the Leafs scored, you got to find a way to win those games. And that's how good teams win in the playoffs. Even when you might not have it, even when the other team looks better than you, you grind it out and you win. It was very impressive to the Leafs to do that on the fourth game in 5 nights, the last game of a road trip, to grind out a victory against one of the best teams in the National Hockey League. There's nothing to complain about there.
We were talking, I think, on Friday about how like shutdown lines aren't really a thing anymore necessarily. Who did the Leafs combat Nathan MacKinnon with? It was the Matthews line.
Austin Matthews.
Now, they did get a goal against the Matthews line, but producer Drew is so funny. Like, he uses every opportunity to rip on the Leafs, but MacKinnon just blows by Riley, and he's like, yeah, it's MacKinnon.
Yeah.
Like, you can't even rag on Riley like it's MacKinnon.
You really saw it at the last play of the game when JT couldn't get it to the empty net.
Shoot it, John.
When Nathan MacKinnon makes the decision to say, I'm going to go end to end, and nobody can stop him. He is saying, I'm doing this, and there's nobody in the world who's ever going to get in his way. And you just see, like, he plays hockey at a different level. Like, I don't care who we want to compare him to. He's at a different level. And just during the game, if he does these things, what can you do?
And this is why you don't eat chocolate bars in season, kids.
Yeah.
Right? You don't eat chocolate bars. You don't have a beer. You be like Nathan MacKinnon. And not a single calorie goes to waste.
Chickpea pasta.
So
you send your food back. I'm sorry, I enjoyed this too much.
Drew's right to not criticize Riley there because no defenseman ever is stopping that.
Yeah, he fell because he was trying to turn because you can't go backwards faster than MacKinnon can go forwards. He tried. He failed. Salute.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And then our Mikko Lehkonen scored.
Yeah, you kept doing that during the stream.
I can't believe
Mikko Lehkonen is my favorite player.
I can't believe I did it again. I can't believe I did it again. I was so upset. I was so upset.
Do really love Leafs Avalanche matchups. Just fun.
That was a good game, man. It was
Both
a really,
games
really good game.
This year have been good games.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I know I got really upset about how the Leafs lost the first game. If I remember correct, they were very even and they just sort of blew it in the third.
The Leafs had the lead early on.
Yeah.
Wow. It's like the same game happened, but in reverse. And the Leafs were at home, and now the Avs are at home.
Now, the one thing I haven't looked up is Austin Matthews' splits, his goals and assists and everything since I went on that little rant about how he's not in the same class as Nathan MacKinnon and Connor McDavid. He's obviously... decided to. There's no way his goal scoring hasn't gone up.
Right.
Like since then.
Yep.
He's a lunatic. And one of the things I forgot about that rant is it was partially based off of Sheldon Keefe going, "Yep, Nathan MacKinnon, Cale Makar, they're in another tier." And I'm like, cool. They all make Makar at very least makes less than a large.
Don't even think about it.
Number of the
The
guys.
vibes. Don't kill the vibe.
No, I know.
No?
I know.
Ah.
But now here we are.
Uh-huh.
A couple months later. They've won 7 straight. Blocking shots, kicking ass, scoring goals all throughout the lineup. I'm feeling pretty good. And they're getting saves.
How do you feel about this? Maple Leafs have recalled goalie Joseph Woll from his conditioning stint.
I feel incredible about that. And I'm fascinated to see what's next.
Yeah, because there's the Martin Jones angle. And I've been on the boat of, listen, if you can't keep Martin Jones, trade Martin Jones.
Well, so they've sent down Marshall Rafai. Mm-hmm. They've sent down Max Lajoie. Mm-hmm. I assume Mark Giordano will be back soon.
Mark Giordano's at practice today.
Excellent. Good. That's good news.
I'm can I be honest?
Yeah.
Concerned about what happens to the defense pairings when Giordano comes back in the lineup. Because they've been working so well. You better put him with Riley.
I would put him with Riley, yeah.
Okay. Do they play well together? Does it matter?
I feel like...
Please just don't split up the other 4.
Has Gio... I feel like he's played on the right. Although I don't... Listen, I'm not saying it's a good idea.
Pretty sure he did in Calgary.
Yeah. I know he's had stints. Riley has too. Listen,
you don't move Riley off of his position. He's Morgan Riley.
they need. It seems like it's not that Lagesson's played poorly, but I look at Liljegren Brody, I look at Benoit McCabe, and they plunk Riley with Lagesson. And to me, I was like, oh, good. That means they're going to do something.
That's what it felt like to me, too.
Yeah, like this is clearly what this is going towards. They're going to make a move for a D partner for Riley, probably a right-hander. That'll help.
Gio doesn't really have a place.
Not right now.
Like I would love everything to just stay the same because it is working. It looks good.
I agree.
And shoehorning Gio somewhere in there doesn't make sense.
But that's Keith's move.
he loves doing that.
He loves shoehorning.
Yeah.
The only reason to shoehorn Giordano in, well, one, you got to get him a game.
Or
you got to get him back
I like
playing.
the idea of him and Lagesson splitting time and Gio being ready for the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, sorry.
That's what I'm saying. But also, I don't know the math. If you so you've recalled Wool. If you want to keep Jones, does that mean you have to send down Lagesson? I don't know the answer. I'm just throwing it out there. That might be something that
Lagesson has to clear waivers though, right?
It depends the last time he cleared, because he cleared last time.
Okay, so then he might still have, like, it might be cleared and he can just go up and down.
If it was less than 30 days ago. I don't know the answer there.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know either.
To answer your question, Steve, on January 16th, Drew Livingstone, producer Drew, tweeted out that you said it's not fucking close. Steve Dangle comparing Austin Matthews to Nathan MacKinnon.
That's not true.
That was January.
That's not
16th.
what you said.
He said it's not F%. Here, I need my glasses.
% $sign ampersand ing.
Is this
Yeah.
Is this what we're
Why are you
getting
putting
stuck
words
on?
in my mouth?
Also, is that really what you said?
Do you want me to play it?
I think so.
Okay, we'll do the whole thing. So on January 16th or around that time on the podcast, you said this and Drew tweeted it out.
Matthews is such a special player, and the way he scores goals seems to be so effortless. Is he a more dominant player than Nathan MacKinnon?
No.
It's easy to think that until you watch them play each other, and you realize, yes, there are indeed tiers to this. It's not fucking close. Matthew, I need a
There you go.
haircut.
I agree. Like, I think that was, I think you were correct. But since that moment that Drew tweeted that out, we have the numbers. Austin Matthews has 29 points. Nathan MacKinnon has 26 points. Austin Matthews has 19 goals. Nathan MacKinnon has 15 goals. And in terms of assists, it's 10 to 15 in favor of MacKinnon. So 29 to 26 on the point tally is the main thing we're looking at.
Who has the next highest goal total?
We sort by goals.
Is it Kaprizov?
Kaprizov's got 13.
No one's really close, eh?
Yeah, with Matthews, no.
And Willie's one of the closer ones with, there's very few players with 10 or more, and Willie's one of them. It's nice to see him bust that slump, too.
There you go. So
Matthews is plus 17 in his last 16 games.
it's a lesson.
No penalties. Holy shit.
You got to keep trashing Austin Matthews, and eventually he'll keep playing well.
Matthews has as many even strength goals as Kaprizov has total goals in this stretch. He's a mutant. He's an absolute freak.
Do you agree with what you said?
At the time, yeah.
What about now?
That's allowed to change, right?
What about now?
What about now? He's become a more dominant force of nature. And listen, head-to-head matchups matter. And I was going by that head-to-head matchup. The team was not going through a very good patch. They played the Avalanche. It wasn't a good loss. Like, oh yeah, but they were good most of the game. Yeah, those losses are more frustrating. Do you see how that's more frustrating? And he's been the most dominant goal scorer in a sport that is decided by who scores the most goals. Yeah, that's crazy.
Wait, are you saying goals are more important than?
I am
Saying, are you
that.
jumping on
I'm jumping on
goals are
Adam,
more important
Adam.
than assists?
I've always
you
been
saying-
riding shotgun in that bandwagon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I've always been riding shotgun with you, buddy.
I think the names that are around Matthews and Kaprizov are very interesting. They include Jonathan Marchessault, Joel Eriksson Ek, Zach Hyman, Nick Suzuki.
Erickson Ek.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Good for him.
This is since January 16th, the goals leaders.
Yeah.
I think that's a very out there list.
Doesn't it also show you, like, Matthews having, what would it have been, 33 goals at that point 16 games ago was impressive. But
He has nearly 20 goals.
he's got nearly 20 goals since. Like that. And it's not that it wasn't impressive. He was still leading the league. But like it goes to show that since Christmas, I guess since mid-January, how enormously dominant he has been. And I think sometimes and where this frustration comes from, it's funny because it's always perceived as, oh, they think the Leafs aren't good, or Steve thinks the Leafs aren't good, or whatever. It's frustrating because sometimes you're like, I know they're much better than this. And this 7-game winning streak is proof of that. The reason we were hard on them before this is because we knew they were capable of more than this.
I'm going by what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Like, have you noticed I haven't done a ton of complaining?
No, it's
over
not
the
right.
last 7 games. Like they're playing great.
Like, if you want to pull back and talk about the winning streak as a whole, I think it's a little embarrassing that since you've been a Toronto Maple Leaf, you haven't had a 7-game winning streak, Austin Matthews.
Well, I don't think that's him.
We got to this point with this roster and the construction, and it's the same core 4, and you haven't put together 7 games in a row.
I was shocked. I was shocked that the entire time I've
Why
done
were you
LFR,
shocked?
Because he's so friggin' good.
Exactly.
Right,
So,
so-
that's the point I'm trying to make.
Yes.
Like, that's why when we talk about our disappointments with the team, because this is what they should be. Like, this is these were your capabilities, and now we're here, and it's awesome.
The whole time I've done LFR, they haven't had a win streak this long.
That's crazy.
And the whole time I've done LFR, they've never scored 9 goals at home until they just did during this streak.
Also crazy.
A buddy of mine went on I don't think he would mind me telling the story. A buddy of mine went on a first date. His first date, she said she hadn't been to a Leaf game for 20 years. And the first game she went to in 2 decades was the 9-2 win over the Ducks.
Amazing.
And I go, do you understand it's been like 2 decades since they scored that many goals at home? And like there were all these different stats. I was like, the odds of you being at that friggin' game are millions to 1.
It's impossible.
And you were there for like by the end of the game, the whole section knew what was going on. She was like in tears. It went really well. It was a really good first date.
Let's have some fun.
Let's do that.
We do a little trivia, Jesse,
Ooh.
Steve. Name 5 players on the roster the last time the Leafs had a 7-game winning streak.
Can I ask the year?
20 years ago. 2004.
Oh, it's 2004. Oh my God.
Matt Sundin.
Matt Sundin is a good one. He played that game.
That's a free square.
Was McGillney still on the team?
No.
Curtis Joseph.
No.
No. Ed Belfour.
Yep.
Joe Nieuwendyk.
Yep.
Gary Roberts.
Yep.
Not McCabe.
Yeah,
McCabe?
McCabe. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Nice.
Name 5 more.
Oh, we already
Thomas,
got 5. Yeah.
Thomas Caberlet.
Yes.
There you go.
Ken Klee.
Ken Klee.
Kenny Klee.
Oh,
I
let me
even
say
love
it.
him.
Let me say it. Babe die.
Not Babe Die. Not Babe Die. No, there's one that's really important. I'm looking for one name.
Oh, Michael Telquist.
No, not him.
Why?
I'm pretty sure he was on.
What?
I'm sure he was on the team too. I only have the starting goaltender. But I'm not looking for fucking Michael Telquist.
Why
There's a
not?
name.
Why is that?
Why would I be looking for a specific name, guys? Come on, think.
Because you're a dick.
Think.
Ty?
Ty Domi.
Guess who scored in that 7th game?
Ty?
Ty Domi.
There you go.
No way.
Or Ty Domi if you're Don Cherry.
Ty Domi.
Ty Domi scored.
Wow.
Yeah, he scored a goal. Brian Marchment scored a goal, and Gary Roberts, and so did Matt Stajan and Matt Sundin. So, yeah, 5 goals. And I wanted to mention this too.
All retired.
Thomas Caberlet being on that team, I cannot believe that a team that was that good and had no salary cap still employed Aki Burke. Don't understand it. And guess what? He led the team in plus minus that night. So
Of course he did.
Nice.
I also think it's important that you know that Joseph Woll coming up, you're probably like, well, he had a conditioning stint. How did he do? Well, he won. Mm-hmm. And he faced 36 shots and stopped all but one of them for a .973 save percentage. So it's safe to say he's pretty good. And the Marlies, just so you know, aren't. So
no,
that's why he faced 36 shots.
I mean, the numbers tell you the story, but if you watch some of the highlights, like they didn't make it easy on him. I think there were 9. I want to say 9 Laval power plays.
Oh my goodness.
It was a lot. It was. They haven't had a good year, and like a lot of their best performers are not even prospects. It's tough. Like Joseph Blandisi, Logan Shaw, guys who don't have NHL deals. Like
Yeah. The guys who are
Kiefer Bellows.
they're going to be in the AHL for a while.
Yep.
Joseph Blandisi's fascinating to me because he was such a effective rat like early in his career. I want to say for the Devils.
He was for the Devils, yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised he kind of fizzled
He's
out.
basically the guy they use on their social media all the time, too. He's always like singing before the game.
Yeah.
He seems like a riot, like a fun guy.
Seems like a good mood.
Good vibes guy. Just like Domi does. Seems like a good vibes guy. So
Great singer.
Do you know how the playoffs in the AHL work? Because it's weird, right?
I forget.
Yeah, I don't know.
They also changed the rules a lot.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to pay attention.
And then like the divisions are a little different, and I don't know. I was gonna say they're fourth in the North Division, but I don't really know what that means.
Is the first round still 5 games? I don't know. I hate that.
I think it
I hate 5-game first rounds. I hate that.
the NBA had that up until, 15 years ago?
They did, and I always hated it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Raptors kept getting...
Losing.
Yeah. Except for that one year against Philly.
when they lost to the Knicks a bunch of years in a row. That was a brutal little era there.
One thing you have to be really careful about in the internet age. Can we stop saying the internet age?
You said it.
The internet
You don't
age.
have to say it.
Everybody said the internet age as though it's new.
1995 onward.
Yeah,
or
is
whatever.
your information being out there and being sold. I don't know a single person who hasn't had a random text message from somebody saying, "Hey, we got your number," and blah 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 blah, and you're like, "Oh, great! So my number's out there and it's been sold."
Yeah,
right?
and then I went to the bank and I got $50,000 and put it in a box.
People that travel a lot too and use public Wi-Fi a lot find that this is a major issue, but not if you have NordVPN. Tim Haraney from our Formula One show talks about it. He's like, yeah, I got to use encrypted service because he's like, every country I go to, I got to be careful.
And he's got to access a lot, like when he's in Bahrain, for instance, last weekend, he's got to access Canadian things. So he needs the VPN to be on a Canadian server and access those sites.
That's right. And so you can do all that with NordVPN. It keeps your security and your info encrypted. There are 5,000 servers that it operates from. So 5,000 different possible servers. And here's the great thing. You could try the whole thing risk-free, money-back guarantee for 30 days. And we got a special offer for you. 2 years with a discount plus 4 months.
Whoa!
4 extra months. And Uber Eats vouchers in Canada, Uber Eats vouchers users in Canada who purchase any of the 2-year plans will receive Uber Eats vouchers as follows. So if you buy the standard plan, you're going to get $10.
So I can get internet security and chicken wings?
That's right. You get
That's incredible.
You could get $20 if you get the plus package, and the complete and ultimate package you get $30. So you can buy 1 pound of wings, 2 pound of wings, or 3 pound of wings.
You're speaking my language.
You know what I'm saying? It's great. So listen, NordVPN has so many different things that you could use it for. And I think namely the most important thing is security. If you want security on the internet, you're going to need a VPN. You should try Nord, and you should go to nordvpn.com/dangle to get a huge discount off your NordVPN plan, plus 4 additional months for free. It's completely risk-free. Nord's got a 30-day money-back guarantee. 4+ months on top of this, okay? It's crazy. 4 months on a 2-year plan. Come on.
That's 28 months.
That's a lot of months.
Math.
Get into it. nordvpn.com/dangle. I learned something new this weekend as well. Do you want to hear something completely random fact? It has nothing to do with the Leaf game, but I thought you'd find it important, funny.
Which war is it?
No. Somebody said, one of the guys I follow, his name's Will Looper, longtime listener of the show. He's from Carolina.
Cool.
And he said, it's a Hurricane Sabres game. Why are they singing the Canadian national anthem? And a Sabres fan reached out to him and said, they sing the Canadian national anthem before every game because of the connection to Southern Ontario. I didn't know that.
Oh,
Sabres?
Yeah, no, they've been doing that for a
no
long
idea.
time. Yeah, every game they sing the Canadian national anthem.
I think that's so cool because most American teams are like, oh, Canada. Anyway, can we get to the Star Spangled Banner? Like the way that American singers sing the Canadian national anthem is so, it's like, just don't do it.
I know. We've
So
talked about
it's
this.
so lovely that the Sabres do that.
I'm pretty
I had
sure
no
we've
idea.
talked about that.
Have we?
I don't know. Because, I knew that. So,
I did not know
you
that.
guys would know.
Did not, but that doesn't mean that we didn't talk about
I
it.
think we might have talked about it. I don't know.
Wait, that the Sabres do it?
Yeah, that they sing the national anthem.
I mean, I wasn't listening.
Did you guys see? Did you guys see the holy crap Battle of Alberta Saturday night?
I saw the Flames looking pretty good, like we discussed. I know they're still 5 points back of a playoff spot, but
Man,
they've been playing well.
What a game. Like, first off, I've never seen Connor McDavid get hit.
He doesn't get got a lot.
No, but he got. Like, Blake
got.
Coleman got him. And Matthias Janmark, who Oilers fans have been on forever, according to Oilers fans, finally did something.
Oh, yeah?
And fought him later on. But Connor McDavid's too fast to hit usually. Blake Coleman really got him.
Oh, yeah.
It was crazy. And
Kadri is back.
Well,
that he's been a point a game player.
If you're so this is the interesting thing for Calgary, because they're deluded enough to think that this is a team.
It's not a great conference, man.
It's not a great conference. You do have a chance.
Two of the teams in the West who are hottest right now are the Flames and the friggin' guys who couldn't go see you too. The Preds. Vindication.
So it worked.
Good for Andrew
Barry
Burnett
Trotz.
and Barry Trotz.
Wow, that's so great for them.
U2 Gate, the Predators are 5-0.
Wow. Man, they really showed them. It couldn't have been 2 or 3 bad games in a row that happened over 82 games. That's so many games.
You're right.
It had to be canceling U2. That's what got him back.
You're right. I'm glad you admit that. Adam.
Wow.
That's good. Can you
amazing.
clip that?
Wow, what great management. I don't even know how they do it. It's amazing. I love Barry Trotz, by the way. I just think that was the wrong call. But the Battle of Alberta was an absolute classic. That was awesome. All the way through. By the way, Zach Hyman with goals 36 and 37.
Stupendous.
Outrageous.
Just stupendous player. Like, I just love him. I love him, man. Like, all he's done. Whose career arc looks like this? Like, whose career arc just continues to go and go and go and you're supposed... Zach, how old is he? 31? He's supposed to be slowing down. He just keeps getting better every single year. His goals per game over his career, I would love to know what that is. Like, there's no way it hasn't gone up each and every...
Oh, he's another guy who doesn't get a lot of assists. Selfish player.
Selfish.
37 goals, 19 assists.
He, like, I've told this story
Outrageous.
lots of times, but I hope Oilers fans like this story. I don't know if he's changed it, but when he was a rookie or a sophomore, I asked him how he tapes his stick. And he's like, I don't put a ton of effort into it. And I was like, why? And he's like, well, because I'm in the corner so much, the tape job just gets ruined. Anyway, so this guy, like, he's basically got it's not a hockey stick as much as it is a javelin. And he's just going into the corner like that. And he was such a mucker and grinder, and he's turned into an absolute goal-scoring force.
Yep. His second goal is a career high for a season. So he had 36 last year, 37 this year, and that is the highest he's ever scored.
Oh, Zach. I mean, oh boy, if the Oilers win it all, there are going to be happy tears followed by profoundly sad tears.
I won't be sad. I'd be happy for him. Guy deserves it. And you know what? Listen, I want the Leafs to win the cup. I want them to win. I want them to win so bad. But I would feel like it's a crime if Connor McDavid goes his entire career without winning a Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
You never know.
Like, I can't be a hockey fan and not root a little for that.
You never
it's like
know.
Ovi winning a cup. How could you be upset?
Well, and when did his come? When we were all like, oh, well, I guess he's not getting one.
Yeah.
Like, when they lost in 2017, we're like, oh,
that's it.
He's not getting one unless he gets traded. And then they won.
Good thing they won the next year, because he's certainly not going to get one now.
They've
been bad ever since.
That was the most unexpected Stanley Cup final. It was Washington, who was supposed to be washed, versus an expansion team.
Crazy.
We're never getting that ever again. Ever.
Yeah, you know what? Put that in that context. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Kind of cool.
A
You
team,
mean the exact same finals? Is that what it?
we're never getting Vegas as an expansion team against Washington in 2017 ever again.
Can we get Washington as an expansion team versus Vegas as an established team?
Yes, said Ted Leone.
It'd be funny, like
Virginia.
50 years from
Virginia
now,
Capitals.
Vegas has like 2 teams and they have an expansion team, and then it comes true and it happens again, and you're sitting there, you're like, "Arr," with your old no teeth,
And they
you're
play
old.
me.
and they play
They
this.
play me on the
They play
Jumbotron.
this clip, and you're all.
Listen,
Can you believe it? We're seeing it
it's
again.
never going to happen.
there's like 100 NHL teams. They have a second one. You're like, it's never.
All right, Alexander Ovechkin is 56 years old. He's still 7 goals back of Gretzky, but he's been going for it for so long.
How do you not respect it?
He's averaging 30 seconds a game.
With the Calgary Flames, I think I'm not convinced that it's a thing,
and
I
shouldn't be, Jesse.
and I don't think they should be. They just lost 3 in a row. They just won 3 in a row. This is how their season tends to go. Before this 6-game stretch, they won 4 in a row and they lost 4 in a row, and they're just very consistent at this. And if you look at their numbers, they sit 16th and 17th in goals for and goals against. Their power play is 30th in the league. Their penalty kill is decent. It's top 5, but their numbers don't support them being a good team. And there's so many teams in between them that they're fighting for the playoff spot with, right?
Yeah, but
St. Louis isn't going to give up.
They're going to get a first-round pick for a 56-year-old Chris Tanev.
Yeah.
I think this is the year the rebuild really kicks off in Calgary.
And they got, I guess, because they have so many middle-aged guys that they can't really punt on like a full rebuild or anything like that with Kadri and Huberdeau and them playing decently. And if they want to keep Rasmus Anderson around, but I don't think they got it this year for any type of deep playoff run like that. Let's not get fooled by a 3-game winning streak.
You know what? I was going to say, Jesse, you're right. And my hope is that going into the trade deadline, they lose a few games before that. Because this Flames management group is wishy-washy enough, at least from the outside, to go, you know what? Maybe we will go for it. Let's get drunk. And
Let's go do it.
And then I think...
I don't know. I'm just going to do that voice
for the content alone. Like, if you're a hockey fan, not a Flames fan, I understand if you're a Flames fan, you want them to hold tight, although I think most Flames fans are like, I'm ready to move on. For the content alone, we need the Flames to go on a bit of a losing streak here.
Man.
So that we can get some selling at the deadline.
Yeah.
To give you an idea of how little runway there is, how many games do the Flames have before the trade deadline?
4.
4.
Oh,
4.
Nice.
Oh, I thought...
I got it.
Oh,
Nice.
no, good guess.
Nice.
4. Adam, also good guess.
Wow. I said it before Jesse did.
They got the Kings at home. Mm-hmm. They have
That's a big game.
Pittsburgh at home, 2 teams desperately needing a win. Seattle, I mean, they're pretty much cooked if they do much more losing. And Tampa on the road.
Yeah,
It's so
The game before.
that's, I think, right there, what you just said about Seattle is the perception of teams and where they are based on how they just played. The Seattle Kraken, if they win one more game, are tied with the Flames in the standings.
Yes.
They have a game in hand, and they'll both be at 61 points.
I mean, losing or winning that game definitely helps direct you.
So, if we're talking about, Calgary, they're in it. Seattle sits right behind them. They're back 2 points, and they have a game in hand, so they can tie them. So both teams are in it.
I mean,
If you just said Seattle's on the brink of losing it, then so are the Flames.
a responsible management group would have their minds made up already.
Yes.
Yep.
They would have had it made up a while ago.
Because a direction, when you're talking about, because like a retool, right, is a years long process. Whether or not, so if you're the Dallas Stars, Colorado Avalanche, Toronto Maple Leafs, who I'm just trying to think of, Vegas Golden Knights, Vancouver Canucks, Edmonton Oilers, those guys who have an outside or an inside shot at the Stanley Cup, legitimate, right? Mm-hmm. People are like, Boston Bruins, Florida Panthers, that sort of thing.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Those teams have to make a decision that matters for weeks. Teams like Calgary, Nashville, Seattle, please, God, get Joey Daccord a backup goaltender, please.
Get Joey Daccord a backup.
Philip Grubauer.
Did you hear that
I know.
sentence?
He's playing himself into Martin Jones territory.
It's crazy.
He hasn't been good for years. It's like Cam Ward back in Carolina. It's like, when was the last time this player was good? Anyway, long story short, Calgary's got to be looking at this in years. Well, they cannot be looking at this in weeks. They cannot be looking at it in months. This is a year's process. And what they do now will set them up for this new arena. And again, that's a major milestone. Murray Edwards isn't spending half the taxpayer dollars on that for no reason. Right?
I don't think the Flames selling this year is an admission of anything, really. If they sell, they can be a really competitive team next year. Mm-hmm. You need to do what makes sense. So if you're not able to re-sign Elias Lindholm, which is obviously the conclusion they came to, all right, let's get a real good deal for him. Did they not get a real good deal for him?
Yeah, and Hannafin, who scored 2 Saturday night.
There you go.
There's a guy who get a real good deal.
If you could listen, I know we keep having the conversation, can you keep him, whatever. I think the Flames are.
Well, did you hear Hunter Ryan Singh and Louis DeBrusk talk about it? They were talking about it as if he's really professional about the way he's handling it, but knowing that he won't be here. Like
knowing that he won't be
here. It was
here.
basically like even they've accepted.
Well, then you got to get.
But then the Flames are like, we're trying to sign him.
I know.
Like,
I think that's all leverage.
Okay, good.
That's all leverage.
Yeah, I think we're coming to that conclusion
Yeah.
that they're talking publicly because they know he's got to go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think it would be a defeat if over the next, 10 days, a little bit more. I don't think it's a defeat if the Flames announce a couple re-signings. They just need answers.
Who?
I don't know. Even, I don't think this is a good idea necessarily. I'm just saying, even if they announce, hey, we've re-signed Chris Tanev, you just can't lose these guys for nothing.
I get it, because at least there's an answer.
Yes.
At least this guy is on the team and he's going to stick around, and we're not just walking him to free agency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
At least there's a decision made. Yeah.
You lose Tanev, I know he's old, but you do have to replace him.
Mm-hmm.
You just, you need an answer.
Right.
You need an answer. And if you, learn from the Islanders, learn and from many years with the Leafs, don't lose Hannafin for nothing. If you don't have a deal by, you need a date. You need an ultimatum date. If we don't have a deal by this date, we got to get something.
Yeah.
You got to get something for him.
And I don't think if they were to re-sign Hannafin or they trade him, at least they set their course on a direction.
Yes.
You said it he's going to stick around. He's going to be through this process. At least we know we're doing that. Or we moved him. We didn't get anything. The inexcusable thing would be to walk these players to free agency because you believed in the roster.
And
That'd be ridiculous.
You can get futures for these guys. And if you want to compete next year, you can trade those futures. You need to acquire assets. You lose this player for nothing. That does you no favors. Okay, it gives you more cap space for free agency, where you notoriously have a really friggin' hard time recruiting guys.
Yeah.
And when you do, you have to overpay. It's not good to lose these guys for nothing. Get something.
I don't know if the Leafs game, as soon as it was over, went right to the end of the Canucks-Bruins game. And the Canucks are down 2-1. They pull the goalie with 3 minutes to go or whatever it was, score, and then win it in overtime. Literally stole the game from the Boston Bruins. As a Vancouver Canucks fan, that has to feel really good. Anytime you get to beat the Bruins.
Well, and
but
you bust the
that.
slump. You bust the slump there too. I think, what was it, 4 games?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's got to feel awesome.
That was to me, that end of the game felt like playoff hockey.
Oh, 100%. Everyone league-wide is ramping it up. All the games mean,
and the refs are backing off. Are
they ever?
The refs basically treat playoffs like it's a vacation, right? So,
oh man, they have the best seats in the house.
They worked really hard. They it's like how most people handle the week. They work really hard Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday, Friday. It's it's basically the weekend.
All right, honey,
handle the season.
All right, honey, I'm going to tell a bunch of guys, whoa, hey, after whistles for 2 months. Whoa, hey. Before doing nothing.
Did you guys read Chris Johnson's
never
piece on? Yeah, I can't stand him. Do you read his piece about the Jets?
Mm-hmm. I haven't had the opportunity.
So basically, the long and the short of it is, after COVID, the Winnipeg Jets stopped selling out, and they had X amount of season tickets.
I do know of this story,
and it went from 13,500 sellout every year to about 9,000. And what Mark Chipman was saying to CJ, and Mark Chipman, if you don't know, is one of the owners, one of the board of governor members. He was in the concourse during the games asking people why or why not they were not season ticket holders and what happened and these sorts of things. And he said, you get every sort of answer from, hey, I got a couple kids now and I can't go to as many games. But 9,000 season tickets, what they're saying is it's unsustainable over the long term.
One of the big reasons they lost a whole bunch from the pandemic through till now, and just over the course of all the years the Jets have been there, is CJ. It's such great reporting. He was there in Winnipeg doing this reporting and talking to him in person. It was fabulous.
He's been gallivanting.
Yeah, he's been
North America.
around doing these stories. But they talked about how in Winnipeg, it's not the businesses who own the season seats there. It is individuals
People.
who have pooled it together. So it's like 3 different families, and they'll be like, okay, let's go get season tickets to the Jets. And eventually, they thought they had just had this sustainable business with the community, and they're all pooled together and get all these season tickets, and we'll be good forever. But eventually, Chipman said he learned that these things break apart because one family has kids and they say, oh, let's take this away. And then once one person leaves these groups that have season tickets, it all falls apart. So
Yes.
they have to go for the smaller packages, get the 10 game.
And they didn't offer them.
No, and they
They weren't offering smaller.
didn't offer.
It was season tickets or single game.
Yeah.
End of story.
Like,
So now he's been making individual phone calls to businesses being like, hey,
good.
can we get you on board for season tickets? Here's some free tickets to the game this year so you can come see us and hang out and everything. And then he's been calling all the people as well who dropped out of season ticket and saying, what happened? What can we do to fix this? And that's where you learn, like, and maybe if you just offer different packages, like, I
Well,
can get those instead.
And he said, for the way he talked about it, such a business term, but he's like, the first 10 years we were a service organization. Now we're turning into a sales organization, which is, what most smaller to medium market teams in the NHL are. They're sales organizations because you got to sell the team.
You got to try.
That the Jets, and here's what's hilarious about the way that they treated it. His admission of that to me is sort of, I love the candidness of it, but I also see how flawed that they were in their approach, because no business can expect that type of behavior for decades. You got a decade of the same type of behavior where you sell out season tickets every single game, and then something that changes the world like COVID comes in,
Yes.
which you can't account for. The idea in a population base that size that was going to continue forever and they would never have to change things is a flawed business plan. And even the Leafs, like I know the Leafs have the population base.
Yeah.
We have so many people here. You could easily support another NHL team in Southern Ontario, no problem whatsoever. And in fact, I think it would probably make the Leafs better because it would make them more competitive.
Ideally.
The Leafs, you can go and buy a flex pack. You can go buy 10 or 15 games.
And Jets, you can't do
Jets,
that?
you could not. And he said, we were a service organization and we weren't a particularly good one. And so now they're having to go out. And he said, one of the interests, Jesse, I don't know if you got this part of the article, if you remember it when you read it, because I just read it this morning.
I read it last night.
The one that blew me away is the guy that canceled his season tickets because the Jets offered a discount on tickets.
Yeah, he was
What?
Steve, it's fascinating. He was in his section and he has season seats, and the guy next to him was like, "Yeah, I got in for some discount code,
beer and discount code, yeah.
I bought a pizza and it came with a free tickets or whatever." And that dude was pissed because he's like, "I paid full price for my 41 games ahead of time, and this guy's getting in for discounted tickets and stuff." So when Mark Chipman called him up, he's like, I canceled, and because I was upset that people were getting in for discounts, because I'm just going to do that instead.
So this is fascinating for me because I admitted that I haven't had a chance to read this yet, but I've seen the reaction to it. Like, as soon as you started talking about it, I'm like, oh yeah. The takeaway that I've seen is people didn't like him talking about, and maybe this wasn't CJ's piece, they didn't like Mark Chipman talking about, listen, if this keeps up, we're going to have to look at something else, basically, was the quote.
That wasn't I don't know about you, but I didn't get that was the whole vibe of it.
No,
That was the takeaway that a lot of people had, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
That was what a lot of people thought.
I think so. Here's the thing. I saw a lot of this online. Like, people were going in on CJ a little bit for it. I'm like, fucking relax, everybody. Gary Bettman is going to be in Winnipeg tomorrow to meet with the sponsors. So it's serious enough that Gary Bettman's flying in for it. And they're like, and the reason people are mad, it's not that they're mad at CJ or they're mad at the Jets or they're mad at it's being reported. They're mad because it's a tinderbox, and they acknowledge that in the article. This city already lost this team.
Yes.
And
no one
now-
wants to hear this shit.
Now-
no one wants to even hear a whisper of this shit.
And the reason for that is because of what the NHL has done with the Coyotes, right? You put it that team has been on life support for 15 years plus, and the
Jets
NHL has lost more money on the Coyotes than they could hope to make back. But they lost it in the hope that there would be profit in the future because it's such a massive television market. Now, people give me shit every time I say the metro market is like 5th or 6th in the United States. as far as televisions, we're talking about televisions. I'm not talking about I'm not talking about people. I'm talking about television and television revenue. It's like the 5th or 6th biggest market. I'm not just talking about Phoenix. I'm talking about the surrounding area.
Adam's right. And if he was wrong, they'd be gone already.
There's so much money in that area.
Yeah.
If you've ever been to Scottsdale, you know what I'm talking about. There's so much money there. That's why they've kept them there. That same potential doesn't exist in Winnipeg. And that is why it's extraordinarily important. I think CJ, because I didn't know this was a problem, I think CJ bringing this up, talking about this, I think Mark Chipman agreeing to do the interview is good, because you do, in a situation like Winnipeg, the NHL is not going to come to your rescue the way that they did with the Coyotes.
It's encouraging to hear him making phone calls.
Oh, 100%. I should get a story about that. But, and I'll get to it in a second. But I think, I'm not saying that they're going to move next year.
No.
I'm saying that for this team to survive, and so is Mark Chipman, it's got to get into the 11 or 12,000 season seats sold.
Yeah,
end of story.
Because when you just take Arizona out of it, the Winnipeg Jets have the worst attendance situation in the league. They are averaging 13,000 fans, which is 31st after the Arizona, just ahead of the Arizona Coyotes.
So it's really last.
So it's really last.
Because
and so if you just objectively look at it, it's the worst attendance situation in the league. So it should be a problem and should be something that Gary Bettman is looking at fixing.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a very reasonable thing. You shouldn't be upset at it. You should say, oh, they're actually struggling here because they don't have the businesses in Winnipeg to support it. It's less than 800,000 people, like the surrounding. That's tiny for a pro sports town.
Brampton's bigger.
Well, this is, but what's interesting is Winnipeg proper and Boston proper are not that different.
Yeah, but it's Boston Metro.
Yeah,
Right.
the Boston surrounding area is wild.
And a lot of head offices in Boston.
Yeah.
A lot, like there isn't that same, there aren't a lot of like head offices in Winnipeg, Manitoba. And that's not to denigrate Winnipeg. It's just not the way the business community is set up here.
Now there is, I think, another factor here, not to be like too TikTok algorithm about this, but like one thing a lot of people have been saying for a long time, years and years, especially since COVID, what part about we're broke don't you understand? Like, dude, a lot of people were thriving prior and aren't now. And a lot of people weren't thriving prior
And definitely
aren't now. And that is an enormous factor. I'm willing to bet numbers are softer in a lot of other markets as well.
And there's a refusal, and the Jets, they talk about this in the article. Some of the expensive seats are going to get more expensive, but some of the cheaper seats are going to get less expensive.
Yep.
Okay.
So they'll charge more for the premium, charge less for the cheaper seats in the hopes that more people will come. The reality is, Steve, you're absolutely right. Mm-hmm. And no government wants to admit it except for Japan and Great Britain, apparently, but we're in a recession. We're in one. And you can throw the S&P at me. You can listen, we're living it. We're a small business in it. Mm-hmm. I can tell you that companies are acting in every sense like we're in a recession. You don't need the government to tell you, you know. And so the inflation's out of control. Employment's an issue. I don't blame. It's not like this is on the city of Winnipeg. Mm-hmm. This is, the reality is that the Winnipeg Jets, at their best, were still lighting $25 million on fire every year.
Yeah.
It was never a profitable franchise, but that was never the point.
And you mentioned the way they were running their business early on. I think that's such a key in that Mark Chipman's admitting that they were wrong in that, admitting defeat. They had 332 consecutive sellouts when they got back to Winnipeg, and they thought that would continue forever.
Yeah.
And that is a bad way to run a business. And things happen, and you don't continue to sell out games 300 in a row.
This is one of the most relatable stories I've ever heard about an owner. Like, usually it's meh, and like they're just Scrooge McDuck, and I'm just going to charge everyone more for less. Mm-hmm. The fact he's getting on the phone and going through the concourse is crazy. I love that.
Yeah.
Like, I actually, I like, there's an effort.
So
there's an effort there, which I think is kind of refreshing. I still would like him to pay for my groceries.
I've never talked,
but like, it's refreshing.
I've never talked about this, but I was in. I was actually at a Winnipeg-Toronto game last season, and this is in Toronto.
Yes,
and I was there with a sponsor of our content, and they also sponsored the Jets, and so I was invited along. And what was interesting about it is that if the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Montreal Canadiens, Edmonton Oilers, Calgary Flames, Vancouver, if they were going to have a big party get together for their sponsors, they would probably, you would think, have it in their city. The Winnipeg Jets had it in Toronto.
What?
And that's because most of the Jets corporate sponsors, head offices are here.
Oh, weird.
Right? And I think that does happen more than often. I would think Ottawa would do something similar. I don't know. But I think that I just want you to understand that the business for the Jets is not the same as everybody else. And so what the NHL now needs to do, because there's more to this particular franchise. This is a really special franchise than I think. I think if you don't do everything you can, and I'll give Gary Bettman credit, he's going to meet with the sponsors, he's going to talk to them about it, that sort of thing. If you don't do everything you can from a corporate level to try to keep this team in Winnipeg, and that includes the NHL, you're risking alienating a good chunk of the base in this country. Because when the Jets, and by the way, the Jets are humming. They're going great. I mean, they're going to be a Stanley Cup contender. You got to think, right?
I hate that this is the Jets story.
It
now.
isn't the Jets story long term, I don't think.
It's the Jets story right now, though.
Right.
You know what I mean? The story should be they're a cup contender.
Yes, and they are. And they got one of the best goalies in the league. And the contract they signed him and Scheifele to are ridiculous, and it's all great.
I'm pissed at Adam Lowry. I streamed him in fantasy, and on Friday he had a game where he just ran cardio. Literally 0 shots, 0 assists, 0 nothing. Just fucking cardio out there.
Okay, we're going to climb the mountain. We're going to climb the mountain.
Come on, Lowry.
Here we go.
Should have picked up Ehlers. I saw
Up
him
the
on the way
speed,
too.
decrease the resistance. Up the speed, decrease the resistance.
We've seen what happens when the Jets get to the playoffs and it's a whiteout in that building.
Oh, it's awesome.
And
I don't think they will have trouble selling that building out in the playoffs.
So
I might be part of the problem.
Oh, here's the thing. If they go on a deep run, I think some of these problems go away.
Oh, of course. Well,
So-
I imagine, you know what? Okay, I can go now in February, or I could save up and go in April. That's probably, I wouldn't be surprised if some people on the phone said that. Like, oh, no, I'm still a fan. I'm going to come in the playoffs.
Well,
Why am I going in February?
I think the NHL, they need to treat this differently than they treated the original Jets franchise, than they've treated other franchises in the past. This isn't just a franchise. This is a community center. And if the NHL leaves again, I think that you will see, and maybe the NHL doesn't care about this, but they should. Canadian teams should care about this. The NHL in Canada, because they've got NBA Canada and NFL Canada. They don't have NHL Canada, and they should. They need a body that's separate from the United States to manage this. NHL in Canada will see a big hit.
Oh, yeah.
The passion that Jets fans have for this team, whether or not they're buying the season tickets, no one's going to doubt it. And so if the NHL goes, you know what, can't do it. It doesn't matter that there's a business case. Doesn't matter. People in Winnipeg are going to look what you guys did with the Coyotes, and you couldn't give us a couple years to get out of this recession and get back to it. They cannot do this, because you're going to have people that are not hopeful that the Jets come back again 15 years from now. You'll have people that are going, I'm not watching hockey anymore. I'll do something else.
Another factor, that Rogers deal is coming up in a few years.
The Rogers NHL deal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the more Canadian teams, the better.
Well, yeah.
for the
And
selling of
I
that
don't
deal,
think I don't think the NHL is going to, given where the economy's at right now, I don't think, the $5.2 billion that Rogers spent on it.
Yeah.
Whoever gets it next is going to spend about the same. It's not worth much more.
Which is a crazy indictment of the deal.
I also think it speaks to the transition from television to digital. I think we have to acknowledge the fact, especially in Canada, and it's coming in the States. They just have more scale than we do. The transition from television to digital, and from written magazine to online website subscription, like The Athletic. Like part of Sportsnet's whole thing, its ethos when it bought that was it was supposed to be a 5-prong attack: digital, radio, television, newspaper, or sorry, not newspaper, magazine. They had Sportsnet magazine, and then had a fifth one, and it's nebulous, and it doesn't even matter what the fifth prong was because I can't even remember. Who cares? The only two things that matter now. Show me, yeah. The only two things that matter now.
Shut up!
Show Me is their former streaming platform.
Let's try this for 5 seconds and okay.
And then write off $200 million in losses. The two that matter now, are digital and television.
Yes.
And most people would argue, and I would argue, that they're the same. Because how do I watch Sportsnet? Yeah. I watch it on the Sportsnet app.
I have been
and so
screaming this since 2008.
So what I think that's why that value goes away. And to your point, Steve,
Yes.
can they even get $5.2 billion if the Jets are no longer here?
I would imagine not.
Probably less, right? There's less of, that's sort of a big deal. If there's not 7 teams, there's 6.
Why am I paying more for less?
Exactly.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. So all that said, I don't think the Jets are. I think they're going through a hot spot. I think there are times in any business's life where you go through, this is going to be a really hard time. Mm-hmm. And I think the Jets are going through that. They've got a well-positioned team. Shoveldayoff and his crew have done a good job. They've got a great fan base who's probably personally struggling financially, as many people are. Mm-hmm. They got all the potential in the world to turn this around. And they still have 9,000 people buying season tickets every year. It's not like they're at 5,000 and they need 13.5. Mm-hmm. They're at 9,000 and they need 13.5.
Well, the Leafs line is like, was it a 20,000 people long or something
yeah.
like that?
Yeah.
Like, that's as close to recession-proof as you can be.
Yeah.
Like,
He mentions the Leafs in there, and he's like, we'd love to be the Leafs.
yeah, like
Well,
thousands of people could drop off from that line and you wouldn't even feel it.
Oh.
You wouldn't even notice.
It's
Yeah.
absurd, yeah.
Yeah.
One thing they also deserve a lot of credit for is that they are willing to spend money to make this thing work. They built the arena for, I think it was $133 million, and they've already put in $133 million in upgrades to Canada Life Center. So they're willing to spend the money. They have it, and they just need the fan base to like respond with their cash. Unfortunately,
And some corporate dollars,
That's how it works. You need the corporate dollars to sustain a business like this, and they're hopeful to get it. And I think like long term, they need to make it work, and they will.
When Mark Cuban bought the Dallas Mavericks, they were an also-ran. They were a nothing franchise. Nobody cared. And the season tickets were down. He bought it for like $150 million or whatever it was.
Like pocket money.
One of the greatest investments of pro sports history.
Crazy. And it's interesting hearing him, because I like watching Mark Cuban interviews, because he actually, like, I remember he was on Smartless and they're talking about like, Mark, like, what would you say to somebody who like wants to become a billionaire? And he's like, it's pure luck.
I'm glad one of them said it.
Finally, somebody said it. But what he did say was, he's like, I bought the Dallas Mavericks and the season tickets were down. And he's like, I put my office right in the sales pit. Everybody that sold season tickets, he's like, I didn't have an office over there. I had an office in the middle of the sales team. And he said, I started calling people who had canceled their season tickets and said, hello, I'm Mark Cuban. I'm the new owner of the Dallas. That's what Mark Chipman is doing. And
Just another Mark.
just these marks, man, lots of power. And what's interesting, I thought about that is, imagine the power of the owner coming up to you and saying, so I see you've canceled your season tickets. Why? Can you let me know? And you being able to honestly tell them.
Oh, I'd remember that.
I think you'd remember it forever. Mm-hmm. And this time you can't fault Jets ownership for not caring. And so, and you saw what happened with the Mavs. The Mavs they're a religion in Dallas, but they didn't used to be. And I think Mark Cuban and the way he handled that franchise has a lot to do with it. The community investment in it.
I wonder how many people hung up on him.
Oh, I'm sure there were plenty.
Oh yeah, you're the owner of the Jets. Yeah, I'm the CEO of friggin' Tim Hortons. Fuck off. Hang up the phone.
Adam, have you made a phone call?
Have I made a phone call?
To David Kenneth Roy Thompson, 3rd Baron Thompson of Fleet?
No, that would be of the Thomson Reuters family. That
would be David Thompson.
Yeah,
who's
like the 50th richest person in the world, also
the Lord Thompson of Fleet.
That's right.
Is that
the
Roy
right
Thompson
and honorable?
Hall? Roy Thompson Hall?
I believe. That's the same family.
His father, I believe. David Thompson, I believe. Roy Thompson, I believe, is his dad. I don't know the Thompson family tree that well, but they are one of the. Obviously,
he's the third Baron, obviously.
Yeah.
I have Thompson.
He's got a family fucking title. Like,
I have Thompson in my lineage. Do they owe me money?
No, you don't.
A lot of
not this Thompson.
I do.
There's a lot of.
It's definitely this Thompson.
a lot of Thompsons out there.
No, it's this one.
You think it's that one?
I'm trying to make a bag. All right.
You mentioned his Roy Thompson Hall. That's his grandfather.
Grandfather.
Jesus.
So
they've been that rich for that long.
yeah.
He's a baron, and his grandfather has a theater named after him.
He's the 3rd Baron.
The 3rd baron.
Third of his name.
Yes.
How do you introduce yourself as a baron? I'd be embarrassed. I'd be embarrassed.
You'd be Baroness and Baroness?
But like
bit.
the Thompson family here has some play in this whole thing, in that they're going to spend a whole bunch of money because the money doesn't really matter, and some of that's going to go to the Jets. So there's a way to sustain this thing as long as the NHL is willing to allow them to keep this thing going.
And
Please
remember,
call me Baron Thompson. Mr. Thompson is my father.
remember too, as long as
That was bad.
there's an
I know.
acceptable range where the Jets lose money and it's fine.
yeah.
Yes.
They're not in that range right now. The point of the Jets is never to make money. The point of the Jets, like year over year, the point is the asset goes up because franchise values are up. If that franchise ever became for sale and the NHL allowed it to be moved, that is worth a lot of money. And so the point of the Thompson family being involved is, yes, we're happy to lose some money on this because the value of the asset is going up. And the value of the asset's going up, but the asset value has to outstrip the loss year over year. So your growth percentage year over year has to be less than whatever your burn rate is. And that is going to be that's going to be the challenge for them.
Sometimes you say things and I realize I'm not a grown up.
Well, it's not that hard.
I'm just like, yeah, man.
All right. Guessing game.
Let's go. Guessing game.
According to Wikipedia, David Kenneth Roy Thompson, 3rd Baron Thompson of Fleet, is worth how many USD?
50 billion.
Steve?
You said that really quick. 51 billion.
Steve's closer.
Yeah!
61.
Love that.
61.3 billion.
If I'm not mistaken, they're like top 1-2 richest in Canada.
They're number one.
They are number one.
Yeah. No,
Wow.
I'm just talking about David. Like, David's number one himself.
The Thompson clan, though, I think are worth even more than that. Like, there's more of them.
Yeah, if you put them all together. Yeah.
Yeah.
David individually is 21 in the world, number one overall in Canada.
What's the name of the guy who invented Wendy's?
Dave
Wendy?
Thomas?
Dave
Oh, it's
Wendy?
Dave Thomas.
Yeah.
Oh,
Dave Wendy.
So not the same
His
then.
daughter's name was Wendy.
Oh, yeah, she's
yeah.
she's the simple. Yeah.
Yeah. They tried to put her in the commercials for a while and it didn't work.
They didn't?
Yeah, there was like when he died, because remember it used to be like Wendy's and there'd be this nice old man handing you a burger. That was Dave Thomas.
No way.
And then his daughter, Wendy, who actually does have red hair, who
The actual
named it
Wendy.
The actual Wendy was in the commercials, but it just didn't have the same je ne sais quoi.
You know how infuriating that? But I'm Wendy.
Right? And the marketing team's like, no.
So
sorry.
Wendy, we know you're the owner, but you're not helping us sell burgers. Like, that's brutal.
It's like fucking Galen Weston. Nobody wants to see him sell Loblaws shit.
No, but wait, I'll wear a more pretentious sweater each time.
Like, they gotta tell him that we don't want to see you.
I don't think he's going to be in their ad campaigns anymore.
I think
good.
he is because billionaires don't really seem to get it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's yeah. So we're a little off track here, but we are closing in on a trade deadline that is getting more exciting by the day. We actually could have some legitimate names moving.
Ilya Labushkin.
Is Bush on the move? Do you think?
Oh,
Do you want to do half an hour on it?
the Bush is louche. What?
Stop it.
What? The Bush is louche.
Did you see so Chelios was honored this weekend in Chicago. Patrick Kane scored the winner, was also honored.
Shouted showtime at the crowd after scoring the OT winner.
Did he actually?
He did. You can read his lips. He's going, showtime, showtime.
Oh,
Yep.
but I thought, did you see the Cindy Crawford clip?
Yo, that's incredible.
Isn't that crazy?
That's it. You got a famous person to take the shot from center ice on the little tiny holes in the net, and
Yep.
they scored. I can't think of that ever happening before. Like, I've seen, like, you know, the people who won the opportunity to do that,
Yep.
or were picked or whatever. I don't think I've ever seen a famous person do it.
No, it's pretty cool.
Cindy Crawford.
It's crazy.
And she was jacked.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I think everybody would be to nail that, but
Yeah.
it's cool to see.
She didn't look surprised.
No, she did.
Been here before.
I think she was pretty excited.
Nah, she's a hockey player. Act like you've been there.
I thought it was pretty cool that it was DeBrincat to Kane in Chicago. You tell somebody in 2019 that's your 2017 that's going to be the goal happening in Chicago, you think, oh, they kept this band together and they really did it, but it was for the Red Wings.
You've been in a coma for 5 years. To bring Cat to Kane in overtime, that's not surprising. No, wait for the next part. Wait for the next part.
That was fun. And like Chris Chelios, he's like the king of the NHL. Like the dude knows everybody, and coming out in a Cadillac.
He's played with everyone.
He's been around for so long. It's incredible to see.
What was that stat that was going around? Like Jágr played with 35% of the NHL. How is the number not bigger for Chelios?
It must be.
Because he played till
26 years he played.
40 what? 42? 41?
Yeah. He played.
Oh, he was older.
His first
Way
season,
older.
he's 62 now. He only stopped playing.
He's 62 now?
Yeah, he only stopped playing 14 years ago.
Chris Chelios is
2019,
older than my mom.
So 26. What I was going to ask you about Chelios, do we ever see a player play 26 years in the NHL again?
No.
26 seasons he played.
The wear and tear is too much. It's just too much.
Do we ever see a player have a beer at the outdoor game and Mike Babcock benches them?
And admit to it. What a legend.
Do you see he took a shot at Rocky Wirtz?
No, what'd he say?
What was
Did he?
He was like, we were on a crazy winning streak that one playoffs. We won 11 games in a row, and Wirtz was upset because he wanted us to lose more so we'd get more playoff dates. I was like, fuck yes, Chelios. Talk your shit.
Yeah, he was not happy about the way they basically booted him out of town.
Oh, yeah.
What are they going to do? Take the mic out of your hand?
Right?
Talk your shit,
He's
Christopher.
Chris Chelios. He can say whatever the fuck he wants. The fact that he just said that in Chicago, everybody loved it.
Wayne
They
Gretzky's
know.
at your retirement. I don't even think they played together.
So
No.
Like not in the NHL.
No, they're just butts.
the more you learn about Rocky Wirtz and I think his predecessor, the scarier it gets. And let me freak you out even more. You think the NHL has some issues under Gary Bettman. Do you know who used to run the league before Gary Bettman?
Who?
The Wirtz family.
Oh, lovely.
Because whoever was the commissioner, it was the Chicago ownership group, which was the Wirtz family, who had just sold off the Bulls, by the way, a few years earlier. Some kid named Michael Jordan. Who needs him?
I don't know. I don't know who that is.
They were the ones that ran the commissioner and then ran the league.
The 2009-10 Atlanta Thrashers. Their second oldest player was Vyacheslav Kozlov at 37 years old. Their oldest was Chris Chelios at 47. He was 47
Unbelievable.
in the NHL playing for the Thrashers.
At that point, you wonder, like, are his wife and kids like, are you ever coming home? Like,
No, I'm not.
you really want to play for Atlanta?
No, that's why they went to the outdoor game.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Wait, isn't the story? Didn't his kid get him the beer?
Yes, his kid got him in the beer at the end.
And I shouldn't disparage the wrong Wirtz. It was Bill Wirtz.
Oh, Bill.
Who
Rocky's the kid. right?
Rocky's the kid,
Yeah.
right? And Bill's his dad.
And
I'm
Bill,
pretty sure.
I think it was Bill's dad that was like the one that ran the league for a long time through the commissioner. He was the one that didn't want home games on TV.
Yeah, because it was it's their grandfather, Arthur, and then his son Bill took it over, and then Rocky. So
They've owned
it might have been Arthur, the grandfather, who originally.
Yeah,
did it.
I
I don't know.
It might even be the great grandfather because they've owned that team since the 20s.
Yeah,
Can I read some of these names that Chelios played with as a rookie?
Yep.
do it.
In Montreal, this is the 83-84 Habs. Larry Robinson, Steve Schutt,
Wow.
Guy Lafleur, Bob Gainey.
Guy Lafleur.
Guy Lafleur. He played with Guy Lafleur.
In his peak, or what, late, I guess that's
Late.
late peak.
That's pretty late peak. Yeah. I mean, he was still in Montreal.
Yeah.
Dude. That's absolute. And another name, Chris Nyland and Keith Acton, who was the Leafs assistant forever.
Wow.
Assistant coach. They're like, dude, he's been in the NHL forever.
His top penalty minutes accrued came in the 92-93 season, where I believe was just after their Stanley Cup run. He had 282 penalty minutes. Also had 73 points.
Chelios cared about just playing the game so much. He played in the AHL in his second last season. He was with the Chicago Wolves.
Yeah.
Like he just wanted to keep going. And like 99% of NHLers, when you're, how old was he at that point? 45?
Oh, 47.
47
Yeah.
at that point is like, okay, I'm going to retire. They're going to send me down to the AHL. But he's like, no, I'm going to go play with the Wolves, and then I'm going to go to the Thrashers and have another shot at this. And that's just like, the man loves hockey.
Yes.
You know, and there's his dedication to it. And I don't know about you guys, but when I think about Chelios, I think about a Red Wing. It's so.
Do you really?
Yeah,
That shows,
I think
that
about a
shows
Blackhawk.
your
it
age.
shows my age.
I think about a
shows
Blackhawk.
your age.
He played 10 years in the NHL before I was born.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
he was
Yeah.
with the Blackhawks before I was born.
Yeah.
You know, for a long time, a period of that. And then so when I first think of Chris Chelios, I think about the great runs with the Red Wings, and that's just kind of like my memories of him and his great play.
I started generating memories like when I was 4 or 5 years old, and I came into hockey fandom, and he was already a vet.
Yes.
He was already.
He was
a vet.
old when I was playing hockey. When I was in grade 1 or 2.
And then he kept going.
Yeah.
Like I said,
He was one of my favorite players. I loved him.
his debut was 83. I like this. Chelios, one of the rookies who played one game on his AHL team in his final year, Ben Sherratt.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Ben Sherratt, who's like also an old guy now in the league, and this was 14 years ago.
Did you do the guys he played with in Atlanta? Because that's a whole list of other guys.
Do you have it?
Yeah, I've just clicked their team. You got Ron Hainsey.
No way!
That is one of the highlights. Nikolai Antropov, Evander Kane, Colby Armstrong, Brian Little, Pavel Kubina, Clark MacArthur, Johnny Oduya, and just a whole
Zach
bunch.
Bogosian.
Zach Bogosian, yeah.
Look at that. And Andre Pavlik. Pavelectric.
Have electricity, baby.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my God. I remember Christoph Schubert.
There are some names.
There are some
there.
names. There's-
I love whatever this game is, Hockey DB, Kevin Bacon, like
Yeah. Zach Bogosian was his D bearing for a long time. It was,
Really?
It was Bogosian and Chelios.
Well, he played 7 games.
I heard, yeah.
So
I heard Merrick talk about it because he was like, because it's the most Jeff Merrick thing to bring up ever.
Yes,
He's like,
of course.
that difference in age is the most age gap you've ever had on a D pairing. A 47-year-old and a 19-year-old.
wow.
absolutely
It's like,
outrageous.
that's such a Merrick thing to bring up, but that's crazy.
What, like you can, with 2 degrees, connect Ben Sherratt to Larry Robinson because
Because of Chris Chelios.
of Chris Chelios.
Man, how come Nikolai Antropov couldn't have 24 goals and 43 assists with the Toronto Maple Leafs? He's their leading
because-
effing scorer that year?
Yeah, because he was their top center
Go away.
with Kovalchuk. Kovalchuk.
Yeah, he's playing with Kovalchuk.
Maxim Afanaganov.
Hey, Brian Little was on that team. Damn.
Johan Hedberg and Andre
course Brian
Pavlik,
was on that
the goalies.
But this is a great example of you ever see? I think it's a Tumblr post. It's guys can just get together at a bar.
Just name.
Name old, yeah.
Yo, Pierre Hedin,
Carol Pilash?
Carol Pilash, dude. It's one of the
Lonnie
greatest.
Bohannes? Yeah.
Lonnie Bohannes is
The
one of
ultimate
greatest-
AHLer.
One of the greatest joys in life, dude. Clark Wilm.
Clark. Oh, jeez.
I could do this all day. All day.
Todd Warner.
Todd Warner.
Yeah.
Rhett Warner.
Rhett Warner. Big. I like that. I loved Rhett Warner on the Calgary Flames drive for the Stanley Cup in
Why not?
2004, man. It was
Why
great.
not?
Okay. So,
Does Chelios get his number retired in Detroit as well?
Nah.
No?
I don't know if he was good in Detroit, but you graded on a curve with Nicholas Lidstrom on that team.
Right.
No.
I don't think so.
No, even though he's a part of like the 0-2 run and all the other ones.
You could, and it wouldn't be outrageous, but I don't think so.
No, okay.
Yeah, he won 2 cups with them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
3. No, 2.
I don't know if it was 2.
2.
I don't think he was there for the 08.
know. 08, 09.
Yeah, he was there.
He was there?
Played 14 playoff games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
And then, yeah.
He was in the 0-2 one and the 08 one.
And who
Wow.
won? Who did they lose to? They lost to the Ducks in the conference finals in 06-07, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Was that, and then the Ducks beat the Senators?
Yes.
Is that what happened?
Yes.
Yeah, so he was a part of that run too. So he won 3 cups.
Yeah, 3, right?
Yeah, Montreal in the 80s.
3 total.
Yeah,
Yes.
3 total.
Yeah.
And then 2 with Detroit.
Right. Anyways.
We could do, this could be a whole show. Like just clicking on different teams' Chelios.
Yeah.
Who was on that roster?
Like right now, like I'm a sick puppy. I'm on his 2004-05 lockout Motor City Mechanics team of the UHL.
I'd like to know from Red Wings fans how they revere Chelios. If he's up there with Shanny, Fedorov, all the guys they have.
See, it's complicated with him because he said he would never play in Detroit. when he was a Blackhawk.
Yeah, and then he played there for like a decade.
And won 2 cups. Like,
Yeah, and the
get
Blackhawks
over
fans
it.
have never forgiven him for that either.
Oh,
Like, they were pissed.
Now they should.
They should. They should. They totally should. But it's Chicago, right? They're tough. Let's do the press conference.
Let's do it.
The Presser. SDP. The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
Kirk Maltby.
Kirk Maltby.
Joe Kosher, Chris Draper, Kurt Maltby, ultimate fourth line.
Darren
Best fourth
McCarty.
line.
Darren McCarty. This way, that way, this way, and in.
Good times.
Cup-winning
Good
goal scorer.
times.
Darren McCarty.
First thing,
Stacey Roos.
Steve, do you have a stream coming up?
Not a scheduled one, no.
Not scheduled.
There will be other streams in the future, though.
Yes.
And by the way, it went great on Saturday. Thank you to everybody that watched and all the VIPs, you hooligans. Crazy people.
Remember,
Wonderful stuff.
SDP VIP is available on Spotify
Yes.
and Apple
What?
and YouTube.
What?
It is a good time. And those of you on YouTube who subscribe to SDP VIP, there's been a lot of questions about if you're a YouTube premium subscriber, you usually can play a video in the background. Like that's a feature of having YouTube Premium. If it's a subscriber video, you can't do that. And that's not our problem. That is a YouTube the way they have made it. So
So there's nothing we can do.
that's a feature of the members only videos that they can't be played in the background. If you want to play videos on the background, maybe subscribe to SDP VIP on audio. Where everything is in the background and you can just do other things.
You should do both. Get an annual subscription for both. No.
All right.
Do whatever you want.
So, but yeah, hit up that the links in the description if you want to subscribe.
Got it.
This is from Commander Lurk on our Discord. Do you have a competition going on between the three of you about who can have the worst take this season?
Yeah.
Do we?
I'm not expanding.
Commander Luke's taking a dig at our takes.
Oh.
Damn.
Okay. Damn, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to sleep tonight. If Commander Luke doesn't like my takes.
Shit. But also fuck.
What am I gonna do?
Damn.
What will I do?
I don't know, man. Like, listen, I don't.
Sometimes people say a bad take, it's just something they disagree with. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and that's fine.
Yeah, man.
That's fine. I stopped taking that to heart. It's okay.
A long time ago.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Imagine if I took all that to heart.
I don't think you'd be able to get out of bed.
I'd be a jittering mess. I'd have no hair.
I don't think there's a single thing that you can say, especially in the age of the internet, that anybody's going to agree, not that any whole group is going to completely agree with.
Mm-hmm.
So you just get used to people going, I disagree and your takes are bad and F you. And then the next day they're back listening to the next show going, hey, I didn't mind that.
Well, like,
It's just an emotional reaction. It's nothing else.
I used to be a lot like it tweets as well, but like I used to be like, okay, if I say this and then they might confuse it for this, and I would perfectly craft it, and then enough times that didn't work, where I was like, all right, you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
Listen, and like I think we're pretty open with admitting we're wrong. And like wearing it, like okay, that Matthews clip that went up where I talked about him not being in the same tier as MacKinnon and McDavid. I got a lot of shit for that, and Drew was like, "Sorry for uploading that. Like, should I take it down?" And I'm like, "No, let me." I said it. I said it into a mic in my own studio on my own show. Like, I'm owning it. Oh well. I called Nick Robertson a defenseman. Did I delete the video? No. I went to Peterborough and shot a video with him.
Yeah.
Like, you got to wear it.
Yeah.
You got to wear it. It's okay.
And I don't know a single person that talks about sports with a microphone in front of them that hasn't gotten something wrong.
No, you know what?
I don't
was
know a
wrong.
single one.
I was wrong, so replace me with one of the sports personalities who never gets it wrong.
There doesn't exist.
Just replace me with them.
So like,
there's lots of them.
you got to remember too, like it's this sort of stuff is like how you feel in the moment. The one thing I always say about the show is that we're not always right, but we are always honest. You're gonna know how we feel about something, and it's gonna be.
I'm always right.
Okay. Well, you're always right. Actually, most people would say that Jesse is the most right. I think of the three of us.
Yeah. Always right, guy.
But yeah, like, listen, the part about being human where not
agreed with
everything
me.
rationally makes sense is that's what makes a good show, man. And by the way,
It's all right.
it's okay to have your beliefs challenged. If you have a belief about something and you walk through life and you don't want it challenged, then it's not really a great belief. The whole point about having a belief system or having an argument is that you want to challenge it, because if somebody's got a better argument, you want to take the better parts of that argument and make your argument better. That's the whole thing. That's why I like debate. That's why if somebody comes at me in the DMs and they're like, hey, love the show, but I disagree with this because of this, I'll go, wow, you're probably right about that.
That's all right.
Yeah. But if you're like, I've had this too, where it's like, go fuck yourself and I hope your house burns down. I'm like, well, I'm probably going to delete that, right? Like, like there's not much you can do with it. I don't know where we go from here.
Man, I had a fascinating exchange about a month ago where this guy just said like horrible things. Like he just DM'd me horrible things. And his Instagram profile photo had a girl in it. Like it was him and who I assume was his girlfriend. Mm-hmm. And I go, hey, can you do me a favor? Like I didn't even respond to what he said. I just go, can you do me a favor? Can you show this to the girl in your photo? And I'm like, okay, he's gonna burn my house down. And the next day he's like, yeah, no, she knows like I got like issues and like I'm sorry, I should have never done that. And he was apologizing to the point where I was like, all right, that's enough.
Yeah.
Like it's fine.
Yeah.
It's I've already forgotten about it.
Yeah.
Because if I took that with me, I'd lose my mind.
Yeah.
You can't do it, dude. There's an LFR from my first season that isn't there because I deleted it because I couldn't take all the hate comments.
Wow, really?
Yes.
What was it about?
I think my words were at the time, Ilya Kovalchuk is one of the biggest douchebags in the NHL. Remember, this is the 07-08 season. And I would have worded it differently today. He was a violent player. Sneaky dirty. But I couldn't face that at the time. I just couldn't face that. Now I'd just be like, lol. And like, you can't just be reckless with your words. But
And when you're 19, it's a little different than when you're in your mid-30s too.
I didn't know how to take my lumps at the time.
Yeah.
I didn't know how.
Yep.
And it's a shame I deleted it because like I can't get it back.
Yeah, you didn't archive it?
That video is gone forever.
Oh.
No, I have no idea how to. I would have to find my computer that sounded like a motorcycle by the time I got rid of it, like with the fan.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, it's a miracle any videos uploaded before, I'd say 2013.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's okay that you disagree.
Yeah, I'm cool with it. Jesse, what about you?
All right. I don't think you should call me Mr. Right Guy when I famously said the Oilers would miss the playoffs at the beginning of the season.
Nah.
Yeah, nobody's right all the time. Yeah, we had that.
Yeah, we did. We had a big debate.
Remember
about it.
how I was pretty adamant that the math didn't really math when they were so far out and they couldn't do it. And then they went on a 16-game winning streak and they overcame the math. And I've been hilariously wrong about that.
I thought you were saying you said it before the season.
No,
you're
no.
a crazy person. Oh
No. When they were like at the bottom of the standings, when they were losing to the San Jose Sharks, is when I said it. So, anyways, next question comes from David Sherman. I think it's an interesting one. If the Leafs, not that I think all questions are interesting. There you go. The Leafs are hoping to make a splash. If the Leafs are hoping to make a splash at the deadline and really push for a cup run, could Calle Järnkrok be a trade chip? We've done just fine without him. We never trade players when they are at peak value, and our 4 forward lines are clicking really well.
You are going to get sweet fuck all for that player. You're going to get nothing for Calle Järnkrok. He's in his 30s. He has term, and he has a good cap hit. That's exactly why you should keep him.
$2.1 million for this year, next year, and the year after. 3 years. Well, 2 more after this.
You don't have to... Man, look at all the LTIR. Holy shit. Mm-hmm. Oh, my God. Muzzin, Murray, Klingberg, Järnkrok, Woll. Woll, I'm surprised he's still on there. That's interesting.
He's got play.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I guess when you're on LTIR, you're allowed to practice before you play. You're not going to get anything for that player. I would sooner keep him and make him a healthy scratch than I would trade him.
You wouldn't include him in some sort of package? Like a team wants back in it for like all the positive reasons you gave, I think that's something that like a team could take on and be like, we want something like that, and maybe you include him as a sweetener.
Yes, like in the same way that Connor Brown was the sweetener in Ottawa. He was fantastic in Ottawa, but the reason you gave him up is so that you could get out from under 7 years of Nikita Zaitsev or whatever it was. You take on 1 year of Cody Ceci, lose over half a decade of Nikita Zaitsev. Yeah, I'll give up Connor Brown in order to get out of that. I would do, some sort of package involving Calle Järnkrok, but he's such a good player. I'd rather keep.
I think you're going to have injuries in the playoffs. And Calle Järnkrok is a guy that has played all the way from the first line to the fourth. He also is defensively responsible. And if you are playing a team where you need a guy out there who, like even if you left the lines the same and Calle Järnkrok's on the fourth line wing, whichever wing you want to put him on, and whoever sits, I don't really care. If Keith needs a shutdown line, Calle Järnkrok is going out there.
That's my thought.
And so I don't think I actually Kevin Papetti tweeted something this morning, and he said, listen, because I don't think Calle Järnkrok's at the top of his value. You know who is?
Who?
Simon Benoit.
I saw that tweet and I didn't respond on Twitter, but I will respond right now. I would rather die.
I would rather die too. But he made a good point of like, listen, there's value in a player like that. Teams would really love a player like that. And if it gets you your legitimate top four defenseman, I would hate it. And I know why everybody else would hate it. But I just want to say, you do have to be open to these types of things when you're in the position the Leafs are.
I agree.
But man, that would suck.
Outside of Rasmus Andersson, who's available where you would even entertain that thought?
Oh, I don't think there is. And also,
No.
that defenseman is going to be, I mean, he'd be sought after, but I think the Leafs are going to be able to get him on a good extension.
He's still, isn't he
25.
still 20? Oh, he's 25 now?
Yeah, 24, 25.
Oh,
something like that.
geezer. Like, yeah, he was 24 at the
A
beginning.
Brexit geezer.
Yeah.
Day in the life.
Way. No, you got to, you can't trade him. I understand the thought.
Here's the deal. Simon Benoit on the roster, long term, or win the Stanley Cup?
Well,
Exactly. Thank you. Next question, Jesse.
We can have more questions if you'd like.
Yeah, I'd like another question.
All right, we'll do one more. Let me just bring it back up. Steve, what would you rather have? Stanley Cup or your son?
What the fuck? My son. Who will bring me a Stanley Cup one day?
That's
Oh yeah. How's Leo doing at skating?
Not the greatest, but I mean, he's 3. He's upgraded to, like last year, I was like, okay, he's 2, can't really skate. I'll bring out that red plastic thing and we'll all have a Merry Christmas. You don't realize that you need a certain amount of strength to even use that. And he couldn't. Like, it was just useless. I had to break my back. This year, he can use it. But he's a, top 5 kitchen hockey player in the entire world. Oh, man.
Kitchen hockey?
Kicks ass at kitchen hockey.
What's kitchen hockey?
Hockey that you play in the kitchen.
Okay, is the fridge the goal?
The goal is through daddy's legs.
Oh.
No matter what. And I try every time, and he's got a piss missile. He's got a one-timer. Like, he's always had really crazy hands, I think, for his age. He's just, as soon as he gets that skating figured out, I want him to be a better skater than me by the time he's 6 or 7, which I think is very attainable. And then he'll buy me a cottage and win the Stanley Cup, and we'll host a cup party at the cottage.
There you go.
All right, let's end on this one. We can reminisce a little. This is from JT on the Discord. When it comes to the trade deadline, deals are made that some people either really love or really hate, whether at the time or in retrospect. Which Maple Leafs trades at the deadline have you really loved? Get one to really love and one to really hate. I can start because I was thinking about this. I absolutely loved the Ryan O'Reilly deal last year. That was one of my favorite moves the Leafs have made in a long, long time. And I thought he was perfect for the team. It didn't work out because they didn't go on to win the Stanley Cup or go on the deepest playoff run.
Or keep him.
And he ended up not liking Toronto and complaining about the media and all that stuff. But at the time...
Wham, you baby. Wham.
At the time...
Wham.
Adam was
Oh,
really
I signed in Nashville to win
Adam-
the cup. Okay.
Adam was really upset when he made it. Was
Well,
on. Remember, it was on
I'm just so
TSN.
sick of this crap. It's such crap. And he, by the way, he is right. The one thing he did say, and he had to go on TSN to back down his comments.
Yeah.
I always believe the initial comment, by the way. Always believe the initial comment, which is, whenever a person tries to, that wasn't really what I was trying to, Ryan, we heard the clip. We know what you said. But he did say something that I think he's right about is they needed to de-emphasize the core. And we have seen that play out this year because the core was the only thing getting it done. And now with the depth scoring, oh my God, we got a team here that looks like it's got something going on.
Well,
right?
what did they do to de-emphasize the core at the trade deadline? Ryan O'Reilly was on a line with Noel Achari and Matthew Nyes. They acquired an entire new line ahead of that. Like outside of Luke Shen, they got O'Reilly and Achari and Nyes out of college.
And it might have been Barbashev had they added a little.
Okay, you guys get one you love, one you hate.
Scratched him though.
All history of Toronto Maple Leafs.
Okay,
Go back as far as you want.
You know what deal when I was a kid made me feel like, holy shit, the Leafs are about to win the cup? Owen Nolan.
Oh,
That was a good one. Yeah.
losing Brad Boys was tough though.
That was tough. If you want to talk about a deal where I was like, holy shit, they're going to win the cup, and they didn't really lose anybody, Brian Leach.
Oh, I loved. So the Brian Leach trade was my favorite deadline trade ever.
Yeah, here, let me look.
I got it right in front. I was about to bring that one up.
Wow, that's incredible.
That and Doug Gilmour coming to Toronto as well was just amazing. Oh wow, they gave up nothing.
They gave up nothing. Oh boy. So Maxim Kondratiev, who did play some games for the Leafs, he was a draft pick. Jarkko Immonen, so two prospects. A 2005 second round pick,
Sauer.
Michael Sauer. If I'm not mistaken, Michael Sauer is the guy Dion Phaneuf hit in that Rangers game in Madison Square, and he never played a game ever again. And a first round pick.
Give me that name.
Chris Chelios.
Chucko.
I want to say he was picked by the Flames. So the Rangers might have flipped this pick. And the Leafs got Brian Leach and a fourth round pick who they used to select Roman Kuchenberg, who never played for them. Yeah, man.
They gave up nothing.
They gave up. Well, I mean, like a first and a second is a lot. But
What it turned out to be.
what it turned out to be was nothing.
Adam, do you have a one you hate?
I wanted to. When was Alex Steen traded?
That was early in the season. deal.
Okay.
Him and Kolyakovo.
I remember hating that trade because I was like Lee Stempniak, and I was right.
Yeah.
But that was when the Leafs management was terrible.
November 24th, 2008.
I never liked, I'll be honest, and I might have been wrong about this because he did have a good first few games until the back injury. I didn't like the Nick Foligno trade as soon as it happened.
You were pretty vocal.
I thought
Yeah.
I thought it was way too much. And
Taylor Hall was the guy.
Well, and then
Everyone
Taylor Hall
wanted Taylor
cost
Hall.
a second round pick.
Yep.
Foligno cost a first. and
Taylor
two
Hall
fourths.
was cheaper.
And Anders Bjork. I know.
Like
know.
so, there were points in Dubas's career here where I was like fucking genius. Like the last trade deadline was a masterstroke. He was amazing. Although I think he overdid it. Like I think he overtraded at last year's trade deadline. Like not that Rasmus Sandin is any sort of great player or whatever, but I was just like it felt like the Sandin trade for Gustafsson and the Washington first was.
Nah.
I thought that there was something else coming.
Nah.
I
I think he did a great job with like McCabe.
McCabe was amazing.
Like I thought he did a great job.
McCabe was amazing. I love that trade.
I still will defend the Foligno deal. I thought he was exactly what they needed, and he got hurt.
Yeah, and I think that's what it was. I just never thought in any rational sense that Nick Foligno was ever worth that package, even if he was exactly what they needed.
You know what was a real whiff from that deal? People forget the Leafs got another player in that deal.
No idea.
So it was a three-way trade. It was the Blue Jackets who gave them Foligno, and the Sharks gave the Leafs a player. Do you remember the player? He's on Carolina's power play, I think on the top unit.
Who?
Stefan Nason.
Oh, right.
He even played a game.
That is a whiff.
And they completely whiffed. He went to the AHL the next year with the Chicago Wolves, had monster numbers, completely broke out, and he's never looked back.
Wow. Good for him.
Yeah.
One that I don't like the fact that he wasn't a Leaf eventually, but Brian Burke in February of 2011 on the 18th, trading away Thomas Caberlet for Joe Colborne, a second-round pick, which turns into Mike Winther, and a first-round pick, which turns into Ricard Raquel.
Which the Leafs traded.
no!
The Leafs
Not a
traded
fan.
Ricard Raquel.
Not a fan.
I like
so
the
they-
Caberlet needed to be moved. They just couldn't. They couldn't draft for shit back then. They were a terrible drafting team.
So Boston drafted both those guys.
And Ricard Raquel
oh my God.
goes on. I think they not trade him. Who did they trade him to the Ducks for?
So they traded. It was they moved up in the draft. They didn't trade Raquel. They moved up in the draft. The Leafs
you
gave
go.
the Ducks John Gibson and Ricard Raquel for the pick that they used to draft Tyler Biggs.
What?
You should see the lack of soul in Adam's eyes right now. Ricard Raquel and John Gibson for Tyler Biggs.
No. So I guess it's not a part of his trade history then.
That's weird.
Well, yeah, because he wasn't picked yet.
Right. It's just the draft pick that was used. That makes more sense.
Yeah, Ricard Raquel, John Gibson, Tyler Biggs. That was the deal.
I think if you're a Leaf fan and you're born in the year
2000.
1998 or later, I want you to go back and look at who they drafted from the year 2000 to the year 2015. If you're ever bored at work and you want to do something, go have a look at the drafts. Here, look at the 6 or 7 picks that they make every single year.
It's just that clip of Muhammad Ali dodging punches.
It's just swing and a miss, swing and a miss. And by the
Oh
way, Joe
my God.
Colborne could have been a good player, but the Leafs screwed up his wrist. They didn't look after. He got a wrist injury, and their medical staff fucked it up.
You go back and look at his game by game. He was, I think, leading or one of the top 5 guys in the AHL in scoring. He got a wrist injury. He kept playing through it. The Marlies went all the way to the Calder Cup final. And if I'm not mistaken, he didn't have a goal between February and May.
And there was a lot actually said. I remember that was a big scandal in early Twitter days of how bad the Leafs medical staff was, because it was NHL and AHL. They didn't operate as a one group back then. They operated as 2 completely separate franchises, and it was only when Shanny came in and then Dubas and Mark Hunter and then Lou, where they were like, okay, the Marlies now have a direction, and the direction is you are developing players to play for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Speaking of dudes great to bring up at the bar, Joe Colborne was top 5 in AHL scoring for the first half of that AHL season. Who was the other Marley who was up there with him? He had a great mustache, very underrated mustache because he was blonde. Joey Crab.
Oh, okay.
Joey Crab.
Did he not block a shot with his face?
He might have. That was Mark Fraser.
Oh, okay.
Mark
All right.
Fraser
Damn.
broke his orbital bone in that 2013 series against the Bruins.
Unbelievable. All right, let's wrap it up. We will be back. And by the way, VIP, sign up. It's $4 a month. And we got a new episode coming up later this week for that. Plus Wednesday, and also a brand new CJ show today. It's CJ season. They're cooking right now.
What
Lots
else?
going on.
Give me more.
There's so much.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.